Ahoy Rum Explorers, I'm Nia, I'm a rum enthusiast, and it is rum time. So today, since I missed last week, I have a twofer for you, and these are the first bottles of Outlaw rum to make it here to the US, so I'm super excited. We did open these before, but I definitely wanted to get it on video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'm trying to have Jim, one of the owners of Outlaw rum from Scotland, on my channel so we can go ahead and interview and he can tell us a little bit about the story and how him and his friend Pat went from being in a completely different sector and then going to master blending these amazing rums. So the first one I have is going to be the double cask aged. So basically all his rums are Caribbean distilled spirits, and then they're brought over to Scotland and they're aged in very unique casks. So this one in specific is going to be a Trinidad and Tobago rum, which is aged in Speyside and Highland single malt casks. Again, they say that they're born in Trinidad and Tobago but aged in Scotland, which is really cool. The bottle, as you can see, has their story, which is really, really cool. So it's two friends that decided to start bringing premium rums from the Caribbean and then age them in Scotland. So this is a wooden cork. Let's wait for that pop. Ooh, it does look like a actual cork. As far as the labeling and everything, it's very, very beautiful. This is actually bottle 1 of 1,400. So they typically put out 2 bottles a year, sometimes 3. I know last year they did the Founders release as well, so definitely trying to scoop that one up. But sadly you cannot find these in the US yet. So this is quite a unique bottle that we were able to scoop up. Thank you to my cousin and her husband who brought these bottles for me. If you look at the color, it is beautiful. It's like a light amber. On the nose, it smells like molasses. These are molasses based rums. And then as far as the casks, this is going to be Speyside and Highland casks, and this is a non-chilled filtered Caribbean style. This particular bottle is also a special edition, so I'm excited to add this to my collection. I am getting kind of like an earthy nose to this. So as far as the cost of this bottle, it was 89 euros. Plus shipping, which is going to be very different because, as I mentioned before, please do not confuse this company with, I know there's an Outlaw rum here in the US. These companies are very, very different. Again, these are based in Scotland. And then as far as the age statement, there's really no information, but it's rumored to be a very big company in Trinidad and Tobago. So if you know the companies there, you can probably guess what it is. As far as the nose, I am getting some earthiness, some toffee caramel, definitely some caramel notes, but it smells amazing. Not a lot of alcohol is dissipating, so I'm gonna go ahead and try this again. Cheers. Okay, so at 43%, there's not a lot of hug, but you do get quite a linger on the palate, which is very impressive. It's sweet at the beginning, and I would say almost floral, but at the end it finishes very oaky and very oily on the top of the palate. It's quite complex as it goes through your taste buds and through your tongue, which is very, very delicious. This rum never fails to impress me every single time I have this rum. I definitely detect more notes. So as it's oxidizing, yes, bottles can change. So that's the beauty of sometimes sitting on these bottles. I know a lot of you rum collectors understand what I'm talking about, but basically if you have a ton of bottles, you don't want to go straight through that bottle because you don't get to experience as it matures. The other thing that's really interesting about this rum is that it has a very, very smooth finish. It's not what you would expect, but I think because of the way they are aging in these very specific Speyside and Highland casks, it's giving it that oaky finish, and it's cutting down on the sugar too, which makes it very, very smooth. This is honestly a phenomenal rum. So obviously, as I just opened it, it's already changed. I'm getting a lot more smokiness and peppery on the back palate now on my second taste. So this is, honestly, this is probably one of my favorite rums. And I'm gonna go through the next one, which is also one of my current favorites. So now the second bottle is going to be same thing, Trinidad and Tobago rum, but it's aged in Outlaw whiskey, in Outlaw whiskey casks. So as far as the year statement, still we don't have anything. If you love these types of casks, I highly recommend getting these bottles if you can scoop them up in Europe. The coloring, pretty much the same. So like this amber color. And now, I learned a couple of tricks for tasting in Mount Gay Distillery. They showed us not to agitate the alcohol so much, so they just basically said to give it a little twist and turn. So that helps basically aerate things out, but not agitate it so much that you're breaking the compounds and the flavorings and the notes. So that's an amazing thing I learned down there. And make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can watch that distillery tour, which was incredible. All the staff there was so welcoming. And now let's go ahead and do the review of this one. So in this one I get a lot of peat and smoke. So for the first rum, it's going to be, as far as the rum type, it's going to be aged. As far as the Gargano rum type, it's going to be single blended. As far as the Royal Rum Society's taste code, it's going to be a 6GM. And as far as the Whiskey Society's flavor camps, it's going to be dry and spicy. So going back to the peat and smoke in this one. So basically, to me, peat kind of smells like, I'd say like something earthy or mildewy, a little bit chemically, but like something that's like been aged, so you get that chemical smell from the aging. But it's very unique. I do enjoy it. I kind of would say it smells like an aged cheese, but not as strong. Not that, kind of like the mold of the cheese, but not so much the cheese smell. You get a lot of earthy notes to this. Not a lot of sweetness in there. So definitely the cask, the Isla cask, definitely overpowers the rum. I'm not getting any molasses smell like the other one. I'm not getting those sweet caramel notes. So if you are just coming on this rum journey with me, I highly recommend this one as an entry-level rum. It's on the sweeter side. There is some oakiness to it, so you're not being bored and it's not bland. It's quite complex and beautiful as it goes through your palate. This one, I wouldn't. This is, I think, more of an expert level in rum, and I actually highly recommend this rum if you like whiskey types of spirits, because you can definitely get that nose. It's not a lot of rum. So let's go ahead and try this one. Okay, so when I take a sip, there's not a lot of sweetness in there. There's a lot of smokiness and peatiness to it. Also, the peat kind of reminds me a little bit of like medicine is what I would call it. And I don't know what kind of medicine, but if you've ever tried anything with a peat flavoring, then you'll get where I'm coming from. I quite enjoy it because it's something unique, especially if I were to try this whiskey, like peated whiskeys. I feel like I would be kind of turned off because it would be a lot more intense. I'm imagining that being that this spirit is from molasses, it's going to be on the sweeter side. But this I highly recommend for whiskey drinkers or anybody that likes that peated flavorings in their spirits. The cask completely overpowers the rum. There's a little bit of sweetness, but very, very undetectable. There's a very long linger in the palate, and it's going up to my nose. So if I kind of push my tongue up on my palate, it's a little bit simpler rum, not as complex as this one, but it's quite enjoyable. It's very unique. And then the second bottle, as far as the rum type, it's gonna be same thing, aged. There is no age statement specifically, but it is a Trinidad and Tobago rum, and then aged for a couple of years, I believe, in the. Then as far as the Gargano rum type classification, it's gonna be a single blended. The Royal Rum Society's taste classification, this is gonna be an 8C as in Charlie M. And as far as the Whiskey Exchange flavor counts, this is gonna be another one that's dry and spicy, because that's the closest thing I can get to it. There's no smoky classification, so I think this will go as close as possible to that. I think it's dry and spicy, or even I'd say maybe herbaceous and grassy, because I do feel like the Isla cask does give it kind of that funkiness to it. I wouldn't call it grassiness, but definitely some funkiness. So now, moment of truth. Are either of these treasure chest approved? Yes, I'm gonna officially treasure chest approve the double cask. I'm super excited. So which bottle am I retiring? I am going to retire the Ron Arechavala. I am super impressed by this rum. Again, if you can get your hands on, this is treasure chest approved. The Isla is very interesting, but not of my alley. I'm more of a traditional rum girl. It's very interesting, and I'm happy to have this in the collection for when I do have those guests that are whiskey lovers. But this one is definitely incredible. Like, the complex flavorings to it that the two casks give it is so impressive. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so I can welcome you on board. And I look forward to the next rum. Cheers!